Hello and welcome back to the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. So good to be back here in studio with you, Jordana. How are you? What's happening?
I'm great. Had a lovely Thanksgiving.
How was it? Well, you were with Mike's family.
I was with Mike's family. It was very nice. Great food. I didn't have to do anything. Show up. Great
Chill
time.
out on the couch.
Yeah,
Good to go.
exactly.
Now, do you go for the whole day? Is this a morning? Is this sleepover?
Because we live so close. They live in
Yeah.
Long Beach, as you know.
Yes.
Um,
The town that Jordana shall crush once she buys up all the
That's
real
I just go to
estate.
scope it out
Yeah.
to So yeah, because they live in Long Beach, I
About an
came
hour
back.
from the city.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you're driving,
if you're
yeah.
driving. Yeah.
We came back that night just because it's like I think I'm generally I feel like of the age where I just like to be in my own bed if I can.
I'm with you.
You know?
Nothing like waking up in your own bed. It's
Exactly.
not going to bed in your own bed. It's waking up in your own bed, knowing
It
you didn't.
is.
This is the point of taking the flight and getting out of there and getting home.
Yeah.
And should we drive home after the show? Should we drive home after Thanksgiving? We could do it in the morning. Then you're stuck in the morning traffic.
Right.
The day starts at 10 instead of 8 or 11 instead of 9. You know, it's no. I'm with you. That's the decision I kind of live with when you go on the road. Like
Yeah,
it's like,
sure.
can I
Should I
find
go
a
home?
right?
Yeah.
Can I find a flight Sunday night if there's a Sunday night show? Can I find a flight, early morning just
Right.
to get out of there? Because it's just you either want last flight out or first flight out.
I agree. But yeah, it was a great, lovely time. How was Boca?
Boca was great. It is. I mean, I love it there. Like I really enjoy everything about it. I also and I said last week, we talked about it on the podcast, my anxiety level, but there's a show within the show. I'm watching the show. My parents are crazy. They're out of there. There's a video I posted on TikTok. I
Very
didn't even
funny.
put it on
The joke
Instagram.
with the whale. You got to
Oh,
make
the
you
whale
got to make more
joke.
animal
That-
nose noises. Always
that-
a pleasure.
That bomb. Okay, so when you go to Boca, everyone's tell a joke. What do you do? When you tell people you're a comedian, there are a couple different reactions. There's the really nice one that's like, oh my God, really? Where do you perform? How long have you been doing it? Those are very interested questions. Then there's this other version of, I'm offended that you do comedy. Oh, you think you're funnier than me? Who do you think you are? Is a little bit of the
How old is the youngest permanent resident in this community?
So this is something my parents will tell you. It's a young community.
Okay.
To them, it is young.
What is young?
There's families there. There's like people with like
kids.
Yeah. They're
Oh,
not
wow.
in like a 55 plus situation.
Oh, I thought this was like a retirement area.
It just so happens to be. This is like
Would you raise your kids there?
on
the golf course?
they're living a different life there.
Right.
You can tell like there are people who grew up there. Like Woodfield is one of the big communities down there.
Okay.
And there are people that like went to high school, lived inside the community. Like they lived that life. It's like, I would say that growing up in a community in Boca is similar, not similar in life, but like similar difference of real life as a New York City kid.
Okay.
Like a kid who grows
Right.
up in the city has a very different life and a very
Yes.
different trials and tribulations that they go through growing up. The kid who grows up in a golf course community similarly has lived a different
I
experience
like how
than
it's
me.
like the Jewish version of like the kids who grow up skiing in Colorado in the mountains.
Right.
It's like the more complainy version of that.
Oh, the complaints. Oh, the complaints. I don't know if I told this last week. I just told you now. There was a woman, I walked out of the clubhouse. She's walking in and she just goes, I hate it here. And I wanted to like look at her and go, do you mean Earth? Like, what are you aware? I don't
right.
understand. Yeah. And so they're in a young community. It's not like, and it's funny because
Everyone's not about to die.
there's some people close to death. There's some death around the corner. Death is knocking for some of the people, but most of the people, they're not. See, my Thanksgiving,
They've got a few years left. Okay.
right? Because my brother and I have aged with our parents, and we don't have marriage kids. Like we didn't get married at 27 and have kids already. our holiday events, like you were with like Mike's family, and was his brother there?
Yes. His brother, my sister-in-law.
So this is the classic, get the family together, everyone else out.
Right.
Because my grandfather growing up was a big invite everybody guy.
Okay.
So now my mom is a big, if someone doesn't got a place, come. I don't care how rando you are.
It looked like you were like at a restaurant.
Well, we're at the clubhouse.
That's where everyone does Thanksgiving.
Everyone does Thanksgiving there. So the beauty of moving there is that you don't have, my mom's like, I'm not cooking. Fuck that. We're going to go to the buffet. And they put on a buffet. Like it's it's nice. But then my mom goes, who's at the table? So it's like, my mom's like totally in the camp. And I think it's very nice. If she's taught, she does this with my shows, which is annoying, but it's nice.
Everyone should come.
Come.
Yeah.
You got come. Bring, I don't care. My mom is has never had an awkward moment in her life. She doesn't believe, she's never felt awkward.
Okay.
So she'll just invite anybody. No shame, no nothing, yeah. no anything. If you watch video, just nothing. Nothing phases her. Right. Is what I would say. And I mean that it's a nice thing. Okay. And it's so she'll be like, you come, you're with us, come with us. So we always have this like random posse of olds. Okay. Because it's people that like maybe the family couldn't show up or whatever. So we had this like my aunt and uncle, myself, my brother's girlfriend.
But not your brother.
Not my brother because he was working. So like again.
She didn't want to stay with her own family?
She had to work.
Oh,
she works.
Okay.
She's she's in the news in Miami. So she's a sportswoman. So, and it's really nice that she came. Like it's cool to have her being a part of the family, which is really nice. And then this
I saw the photo booth pic.
Yeah, it's like the photo booth pic. She looks like it's my sister. Right. So, and then this other random couple that were very nice, but they've been living at the community. They'd join up, and the one guy, the husband, was like, "Tell us a joke." Like he wanted to know, like, what kind of? He goes, what's your thing? That's another.
Who filmed this joke?
So he, Ruthie, my brother's girlfriend, Ruthie. What happened was this guy goes, I got a joke for you. And I go, okay, great. And there's something called street jokes. If you don't know what street jokes are basically public domain for jokes. Anyone can tell them. Okay. No one knows who wrote them. They're just like a rabbi and a lawyer going to the bar. Sure. Like that type of joke.
Right. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Right. That's a street joke that is a Catskills, Borscht Belt old thing. Sure. It is. In comedy, anyone can tell them. Street jokes are a lot of fun. If you get a bunch of street jokes together and everyone knows one, they're always fun to tell. They're always like gimmicky and fun. So this guy tells this street joke. He goes, I got a joke for you. And I'm like, let me get out my paper and pen. Like, I'm kind of joking, but he was like, okay, yeah, take out your paper and pen. This might help you.
Okay.
And he tells this joke that I've heard before, but it's a street joke. And it's like, is this whole long thing that basically ends with the premise of the joke is I fucked your daughter and she gave me a venereal disease. It's really, if you think into it.
Very 2022.
Right, very 22. Everyone laughs, fun. He's like, the salesman shows up at the farmer and the farmer says, don't touch my daughters. It's like that type of joke.
Sure.
So then I go, I got a joke. And so then I go, Ruthie, tape me. This is going to bomb so badly because my friend told this joke at 4th of July and it bombed so badly, but we all knew it was like we laughed at how bad the joke was.
So that was
but when you're with older people, I don't think they even understand like, honestly, when I go, I got a joke, my parents are like, show them what you got, son.
Okay.
Like they don't think that I'm like, I'm going to tell this purposely bad joke. So I go, okay. 2 whales walk into a bar. They sit down. The first whale goes,
still going.
The second whale looks at him and goes, hey, Brad, you drunk?
I don't get it. Can you explain the joke?
You're like my parents. Everyone at the table was like, what the fuck was that? They were so angry.
I don't get it.
It's just that he's a whale, and the guy's like, are you drunk? Like, you don't act like that normally.
But hasn't he always been a whale?
Right. That's like...
Never Every time it hits, production is loving it.
It doesn't. It hits in a way that it's not. That it's so stupid. It's not and if you go to the video, my mom is like, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever." Like they were like offended that I have embarrassed the family.
I see. She was like, "Take it back."
She thought it was gonna be like a real joke. She's like, "Oh, let's hear this joke," and I'm like, I'm doing that in the middle of Thanksgiving.
Anyone's gonna remember about you till next Thanksgiving.
I mean, the guy who I told it to, the guy who told the street joke to me, he goes, hopefully all the crackheads in Miami come to your show. Like he like made some comment.
Everyone's gonna hate that joke. Well, it did well here.
Thank you. Except for you.
I still don't get it.
It's just stupid. It's supposed to be bad.
Okay.
And the idea, they literally like my uncle was like, "What the hell was that?" He's like, "What the hell is that?" Like it was so Seinfeld, their reaction.
Right.
I think next year we should do a thing where we tell everyone who listens to go tell the whale joke at their next family event.
Yeah.
And tape everyone's reaction.
Tell it at the next holiday.
Tag you up. Yeah,
Christmas.
Next holiday, Christmas.
Yeah.
Do the whale joke.
Or Hanukkah.
See what people go, I got a joke. And see, okay, good. People love a joke.
Yeah. Tell us how it goes. It could be like one of those TikTok trends where you pretend to be like from Devil Wears Prada or something.
Right. No, it's like when Jimmy Kimmel tells them, tell your kids you ate the candy.
Yes.
You ever see that?
That was funny. Yeah. First year.
Yeah, so show us a video of your family reacting to the whale joke.
I love that. Okay. Also, before we get into our show, I wanted to give you your gift because it's belated, your anniversary gift.
Whoa!
Yes. No, I didn't forget about it.
Okay,
it was really weighing on me.
I love getting a gift, but I'm not good at getting them.
Okay.
Like I don't know how to thank enough. I don't know if my gift. I set the standard.
Did you feel thanked enough for your gift?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't need to be thanked. I don't give a fuck. Okay. But I think because I don't care to be thanked, I don't know if I'm giving enough.
Oh no! Do not worry about it.
Okay.
I also don't care to be thanked. Don't believe in thank you cards.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So because you got me a $50 gift card to Starbucks.
Yes.
Because I was 2 or 3 weeks late, had to get you a $75 gift card.
Whoa!
To one of your favorite date spots, Dante.
Whoa!
Oh, sorry. We gotta make sure we cross out that gift card line so that no one steals the gift card. But you said you like that.
I love
Dante, right? And then also, so I got 75 because I'm late and it had to be better.
That's not necessary, but thank you.
And here's my other thing: is I wanted to make sure that you went on a date. Paid with a gift card.
Okay.
So that I can hear the story. It's a gift for me as well.
And for the audience.
And yeah, I could have emailed you the gift card, but instead I was like, let me print it. I want to hear the story of him he's on a date.
Yeah, I'm going to fold it up.
Sir, I have a gift card.
So I have to use it that way.
I mean,
I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
I feel like you should.
I'm okay to make
for
whatever
the story,
for the
content.
story. Yeah, I'm okay to waste a woman's night. I'm sure.
They've definitely gotten this red flag or deal breaker. They pay with a gift card. They pay with a coupon. This is not a coupon.
It's not a coupon, but it's a gift card.
Yes.
I mean, I'm putting it in my wallet. I'm folding it up.
Amazing.
It will be given. Okay, so here's how I'll do it. I love this. I will go on a date to Dante.
Okay.
I will not reveal the gift card until the end of the date.
Yes.
And I will say, I got it. When the check comes, I'll go, I got it. And then, actually, I have a gift card. That's how I'll say it. And I'll unfold it.
Make sure it's super crumpled. Make sure it's as crumpled as possible.
Right. Put it on top of the check with my card if there's more.
If there's more.
If if it doesn't cover the whole thing.
Which
I'm a drinker.
Not, yeah,
I
don't know. I don't know if apps you're getting, whatever. Yeah.
Dante is not a cheap place.
It's not, I'm sure.
And I will come back with the story once it happens.
Thank you.
It hasn't. I don't have anyone in mind. I haven't brought. I mean, if they're a listener, they're going to be prepared.
Yes. I love gifts. I love giving gifts that are gifts for me as well. So
I'm with you. I love it. I love it. Thank you. This is
of course. Thank you. Happy 5 years.
Happy 5 years. Happy 5 years to the audience, to us. I mean, in the dating game, as far as like who would I go on a date with? I've been on a rut.
Have you? I feel like you've been very close to a second date with
people.
With people.
I've been close to second dates, but just, I don't know. I'm not excited about it. I'm not motivated.
December's a weird time.
I agree with you. And plus the special coming up, I'm like, I don't really have, like, last night I did 2-hour sets at the Cellar to get ready.
Right.
And then I was thinking of doing something tonight, and then I'm like, fuck, I've filled up the calendar. Like, I kind of have to wait until the
After
special.
the 8th.
After the 8th, I'm kind of off until
this episode comes out on the
7th.
The 7th.
So tonight I also was like, I'm not going to drink until the special. I'm going to take a month off. I'm going to be good. And then that went out the window.
I mean, you went home.
So quickly.
Can't not drink when you go
You
home.
can't not drink when you go home, right?
Yeah. I mean,
You can't
that's
not
when you
drink.
need it the most, right?
Right. Take off your shoes. Oh, I love a drink.
Yes. No, I think that that makes sense. I think, again, it's short enough time where it doesn't seem like this huge excuse of I'm too busy and all this stuff. And then you probably got like some holidays. I mean, I just think December is a kind of strange time, right? Because there's a lot of other stuff going on, which is not as common for the winter.
Right. And it's just
People go home, people go
go
away.
home, everyone's got the excuses built in, like I'm going away. Yeah, I don't know. I was on these dating apps and I'm just like, I told you I switched my location to Boca and then I switched it back to New York and I'm like, at one point it showed we've run out of people and I was like, in New York?
Wow. In New York? It said
Right,
that.
in New York. And I go, Jared, like I had
Run
to like
out of people.
I go, Jared, what is wrong with you? Like, you're the problem. Like,
To quote Taylor Swift,
Tay
I'm
told
the problem, it's me.
me. Because if you run out of people in New York, you got to fucking talk to yourself. Like,
I mean, could there be a city where there were more options? I don't
No.
know. What is the city with more options?
I'll never forget. My buddy came here. My buddy was like going through a divorce. He came to the city. He goes, I love Bumble here, man. You never run out of women. And he came from Boston. So it's
Yeah.
like, he was in Boston running out of people. Here, he's like, it's just
Yeah,
keeps
I don't
going.
think there's a city with more people. So yeah, if you run out of options in New York, you might be the issue. But that's not to say you're an issue.
Right.
And
Well-
I think we've got,
Let's give some people some dating advice.
let's now that we've established your credibility.
My credibility is zero. One more thank you before we get
Of
started.
course.
The people posting the Spotify Wrapped. I
Oh,
know it's like
love
kind
it.
of like this little silly thing that it's easy to make fun of. It is so nice of you to post it and make us a part of your
Yes.
lives in that way, and to tag us. And thank you. That's very cool.
Yes, to hear that we've spent thousands of minutes in your ears this year, it's extremely flattering. I'm extremely grateful. Talking about, post Thanksgiving. It's really nice.
5 years.
Yes.
That's right, people who said the intros are too long. Fuck you.
Exactly. Look who's laughing now.
Right. We're all over that Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, we're under 20 minutes now for the intro too.
We're good to go.
impressed with us.
I'm only going to promote one date because
Let's
two
hear it.
dates. Virginia Beach is this weekend. I'm coming. Okay. I don't know what material I have.
What are the actual dates? Because I did read one review that was like, you say this weekend, but if you're listening to an old episode, so
Well, I guess.
what's the actual date?
Well, I guess my rebuttal to that person is
Look at
jaredfreed.com.
Jaredfreed.com.
If it ain't there, jaredfreed.com. If it ain't there, I'm gone. I've been.
Yes.
So Virginia Beach is the 9th and 10th of December. And then I'm going to be in San Diego for New Year's weekend.
Oh wow,
That's a fun New Year's
San
weekend.
Diego.
San Diego.
Nice and warm, right?
Beautiful, warm. If you're in San Diego, I'm going to be trying to bring new material and, because the special is like, that's it. And you're coming this Saturday to the show.
I'm coming this Saturday to the practice round. I'm
Right.
coming on the 8th. I'll
Can't
be
wait.
there. I'm very excited. It's going to be one of the highlights of my December.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's getting better. It's good.
I've seen you. You're already great. So I
Thank
can
you.
only imagine.
Well,
if it's getting
here's the
better.
other thing. The energy of the room is going to be wild because I just did 2 shows at the Cellar. It was for, it was our audience,
Yeah.
People that like the show. Couldn't have been better. Like, people were supportive. They're excited. They got relatability at an all-time high. Like, all the jokes, everyone's like, that's me. It's happening. So
That's
that's
awesome.
cool to hear. So
And the show sold out both shows sold out in under an hour. So
half hour.
it's going to be good.
What else we got? And then your podcast. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Yeah, that's oversharing. Check it out. It's out every Tuesday.
It calms me. I will
good.
say, I don't think my
Now-
voice is calming to anyone.
I think it is to a lot of people.
Okay.
Laughter is very relaxing to a lot of people.
Well, I'm having fun listening to you and your sister. It's a very, some podcasts, now that podcasting has become this industry.
Right. Everyone has a podcast.
Everyone has a podcast, and also everyone just like meets one day. Like, we should start a podcast. No, you shouldn't. Right? You and your sister have this lived-in experience that
Right.
can't be replicated, which
Because our parents are so crazy.
right. So thank your parents for giving us the. What the fuck is this?
Is that
Oh
from
my
you?
God, my podcast just started on my phone
Oh,
because I said
wow.
podcast.
Is it your podcast?
No, if that was the big reveal that I listened to my own,
You share your Spotify Wrapped. It's just J Train,
you up,
J Train.
Bachelor.
And thank you to you up subscribers, because I've seen a lot that are they come up as two separate podcasts. A lot of
Right.
people, both the You Up show and the Benefits show, are both in your top listens. So
Very cool. Very.
I
cool.
love that.
Let's get to the email.
Let's do it. Okay. I'll read the first one. Hey, Jordana and Jared, I'm a 31-year-old man who's been on...
What up, bro?
who's been on the apps for a few years, and I have a situation I wanted to get your thoughts on. 2-ish years ago, I matched with a woman. Let's call her Maria on Hinge. What is this, West Side Story?
Right. Maria, I just DM'd with a girl named Maria. She sent a happy face.
I love that. I think we should do a modern day West Side Story.
Oh, I love it.
That's...
I hearted the response to her.
Can you imagine
Maria.
Imagine changing the lyrics to the matchmaker to like Hinjab.
Right.
Make me a match.
Well, listen, start paying Hinge.
Right?
for that
or
Plug
whoever
City.
wants to sponsor that Broadway show.
Matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find. Catch me a catch.
It's a great song.
It's a great song.
So 2-ish years ago, he matched with a woman. Let's call her Maria on Hinge.
Maria.
I also love when they write like, let's call her something, and then they never use the name again.
Right. Let's call her what's her face.
We had some good banter via text, followed each other on social media, and I asked her to get drinks, but she was non-committal when it came to setting a date, so things fizzled. A year later, I was back on the apps after a relationship that didn't work out, and I see Maria. I like her photo again. You just can't help yourself with some people, you know?
I've been there.
And she matches with me and says something along the lines of, we've matched before, and I follow you on Instagram. The skull emoji, skull and crossbones emoji.
Yep.
We chat a bit, and I ask her out again, but just like the first time, she's non-committal. So, in the spirit of George W. Bush, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, we can't get fooled again. I don't even...
It was
Is that like shame on me?
well, it's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me is
Right,
the
yes.
saying. But George W. Bush has famously said it that way.
Okay.
So this is a...
Is that a rib on George Bush?
It was a little bit of a... He went for a reference.
Okay.
And it's appreciated.
I'm not sure if it hit, but,
Listen,
we
sometimes
tried.
it's the whale joke. Sometimes it's,
Yeah. Anyway, you're not gonna get one past this emailer because he said I unfollow her on Instagram and move on with my life after that.
Okay.
Cut to present day, Maria still follows me on Instagram and responds to a relatively uninteresting story I post, not in a flirty manner. But there's a few messages back and forth. My question, how do you think she'd use this scenario? And as a follow-up, if you have time, what do you think the skull and crossbones means? And yes, I feel incredibly old having to ask for an emoji translation. Love the podcast. So let's start with the easy one.
The emoji.
The emoji is dead.
Dead. Right. I knew
I'm
that.
dead.
I'm
LOL.
dead. It's a version of LOL.
Yes.
Like it's a version of like, oh my God. Dying. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, and
That was an easy one.
that was easy. We've matched before and I follow you. And to put it in context with what she wrote, because he matches with her again, we've matched before and I follow you on Instagram dead. It's a call out, but a playful call out.
It's kind of like we're calling both of ourselves out.
Right. Let's be honest about that. Let's make sure we start the conversation that we've met before.
Yeah.
instead of, because it happens. Sometimes I have hearted people's profiles. They go back again. I'm like, I don't have any memory.
Dead.
You know, we've had this. I had someone, like, I've written to people, like, to their prompts, and they go, you know, we've talked about this before. And I'm like, okay. It makes me, when they do that, it makes me want to literally take the app, crumple the app up, and throw it into the ocean and never return again. Like, if someone said that to me at a party, if the dating app's a party and I went up to a woman and I was like, hey, I am fluent in sarcasm, and she was like, you know, you already said that line to me, I would run out of the party crying. Like, it makes me,
Right.
it is so embarrassing. There's a nicer way to go about that.
What's
Obviously,
the nicer way?
Well, because I could write back, well, obviously you weren't interesting enough to remember. But I don't.
Well, let's hear what's the nicer way.
Hey, I'm not sure if you remember or not, but we've met before on this app. I think, like,
It's hard to detect tone, though, because I'm not sure if you remember or not. It could be like, I don't know if you remember or not, but
Ooh.
we've matched on
fair.
this app before, too. So, like, maybe the tone, and again, maybe this tone is more playful than,
I think this person's tone's playful.
yeah. The
I
dead
agree.
emoji is playful.
Dead emoji's playful. To call out that someone has already made this joke to you is like, that's offensive. That I don't know another tone to take that with.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm saying in my scenario
yeah.
where I, like, joke around with their prompt, which is me making an effort, like, more than liking your bathing suit picture,
Yeah.
to write back, to accept the match on Hinge, which is what you have to do, and go, we'll try again. You've done this joke already. It's like, fuck off.
Okay.
Like, I run into that scenario. And then there's a moment, because we're so alone in this dating world, I'm like, am I on this so much that I'm the only one who rematches with people and does the same? Like, is this a me problem, or does
Right.
this happen? Is like my first
I'm
thought.
sure this happens all the time.
I would
I remember
assume.
this happening to me.
Okay.
Like, you know, you're on the apps for long enough, you match with the same people
Right.
over and over again, or on more than one app.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you follow them on Instagram, but like that happens.
Well,
that happens.
so what do you think of this?
So what do I think? I think, and we say this a lot, this is an example of some people just want to know you would.
Right.
They don't really want to go out. They just want it. They want a little ego boost
Mhm.
of knowing you would. So he asks her out. She knows this guy asked me out before.
Mhm.
She's not totally interested in going out with him, but it feels nice to be asked out.
Right.
So she's kind of like, yeah, I could go for that again.
In addition to what you're saying, I totally agree. Some people just like the feeling. They're on the dating app for the gamification of it.
Yeah.
The dopamine rush that they get from that is the same I get from Wordle.
Right.
You know, like getting the
Yes.
Wordle right and getting a match
good.
feels good.
Little hit.
Here's the one thing I'll say. The minute you go from the app to Instagram, someone is doing that. Of the two, I'm not sure if it's both of you or one of you, but someone in this conversation needs more convincing. Obviously,
Right.
it was her.
Yeah.
She needed to see more than what you had on the app. I think, to me, if I need to see more, I don't want to go out with you.
She doesn't want to go out with him.
That's the thing.
Right.
So but the problem is, she goes, oh, he's got a little bit of the things I want. They go to Instagram. She sees the Instagram follows and goes, and she doesn't want to go out anymore.
Right.
She got, liking on an app for someone is a first step. Some people, they're like, no one ever talks to me on the app. And it's like, well, that was their first step. You guys have different levels of, letting people in.
Right. Different thresholds for what it takes to get you on a date.
Absolutely.
Also. And I mean, to bring, something I've learned from Dr. Naomi on this is that your thoughts are not your permanent state of being, right?
Okay.
So in her mind, she's like, okay, I'm not really interested. But then she sees something and she's like, maybe I could be interested. And then they talk and then she's like, oh yeah, actually I'm not interested. Or
Right.
like in that moment, she was like, yeah, I'm like when they're talking before he asks her out, she's like, yeah, I could be into this. And then it comes time for like her to say yes to a time and date. And she's like, actually,
And I see eye
it
to eye.
happens to you all the time. I'm sure.
I see eye to eye with her completely. That happens to me a lot. If not now, it's never.
Right.
Know?
But then I'm sure you have a moment where you're like, maybe I should have gone out with that
Yes.
person.
Absolutely. So that, and from the other side, I've been on the other side too. I've been in this guy's position.
Mm-hmm.
You ask them out and they don't give you a straight answer and you go, what the fuck? Why am I the one pushing for this when all I want to do is get drinks?
Right.
And this person, it's such a big deal for them. Oh, and you can see he's getting affected by it. And that's
he wrote into this podcast.
We wrote in this podcast. That's one
say.
issue. But most of all, he goes, the whole fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. I unfollowed her. Fuck that bitch. And it's like, you could tell, like, he's like, I got to show her what's up. And it's like, no, she doesn't care that much.
Right.
And when you care more than the other person, you feel like now that's what makes him write in. Because he's like, what the fuck is happening here? She's still following. She's still writing back to my stories. I asked her out.
Right. What more does she want?
Right. What are you doing with me? Let me go.
Yes.
and
it's nice to see that from a man's perspective.
Right. And it goes both ways because I have been in that position and I've been in her position.
Right.
It goes around. So
yeah, I would say I'm like, she likes that you respond. She knows you're into her enough to ask her out.
That's the other thing. Sorry to interrupt, but that's a big point of this is responding to your stories. She's responding to stories of a guy who's attracted to her.
Yes.
And that's what feels good. He has to remember that.
Mm-hmm. The
dating apps are two people saying, I'm attracted to each other. So when you have that information, you have that information.
Yes.
You know, like that is in the background of everything you do. So what she gets out of it, you're like, well, why does she need to like answer? She knows you think she's
She
hot.
knows you would.
Yeah.
Right.
Knows
and
you
sometimes
would.
that's all you really need to know.
Absolutely.
And I have to say, because we haven't necessarily discussed this part of it yet, but those things are especially nice when you've been rejected by someone that you're actually interested in. And I don't know if men do this.
And this is where the roller coaster of this shit heads into like the dark cave of shittiness. Because you're right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't know if you've experienced that, but sometimes I feel like if I, let's say I went on a date with a guy and then I thought it went well and he didn't ask me out on a second date and I'm feeling kind of shitty, I'm like, oh, why don't I respond to the story of this guy that I know?
All reliable.
He was like he wants to go out. He'll give me attention.
Right.
And that I could use that right now because I'm feeling a little down.
And
I don't think it's right. I think it's like a little usy.
Yeah, you're using someone, but in degrees of using someone,
right.
It's the smallest degree because it's just one click away
right.
and it doesn't feel like a lot, but it is. No, I understand that mentality. Like, I understand that as far as, like, going on a date versus going out with the person that you've hooked up with before.
Yeah.
Like, if I go on the second date.
Ego boost.
Yeah, I can guarantee someone's going to cuddle me.
Right.
Like, as opposed to, like, I don't know how this is going to go. And there's, you're not sure. Are we going to connect? Is it going to be a fun conversation? All reliable, knows how to touch my nuts.
And I don't think it's right. I've had that happen to me. Those are always the guys who come, like we've talked about this before, mostly with men, where it's like,
right.
They come back and they ask you to go out, and when they previously dumped you, and you're kind of like, oh, well, I'm really invested in this, and they're not.
Right.
And they're kind of using you. And so I do think that happens. I think that this is a pretty small scale of it, so it's kind of harmless.
Well, men get into the harmful version because, like, then they're doing that with, like, needing physicality.
Right. When you sleep with someone, it's a different
than
story.
Getting the mental boost, ego boost
right.
that this person's coming to this guy for, which is, listen, different. Same but different, with different consequences, so
right.
to speak. So yeah, I know, I get that. I feel for this guy because what he has to do, if he, now that he's shown he's been affected by this, he's got to like kind of block her. I think.
Yeah.
Like you've tried, you gave it a shot, and what they are is a mirage. Like because what happens when you're on his side of things, and this, we've all. You go, well, look who came back around. Maybe and you start thinking, you go, I could see it. You know what? You make excuses for them. Oh, I'm sure they were going
right.
through something. Maybe they're seeing someone else. They're back. They must obviously want to go again. And then you ask them out again, and they give you no answer to your ask out again. And you go, oh, fuck, I'm back.
And then you want it more too, because
right.
now it's this thing that's like elusive. Now it's like, oh, they maybe this time's the time.
The forbidden fruit.
Right.
This is our story.
I agree. He should block, not because she's like this horrible person,
No.
but again, for the same reason we tell everyone to block people, for themselves.
Right. Absolutely. It is interesting to hear from the guy's point of view. Like this email from the guy's side of things. And it's like, we do have this too. We do have the sand slipping through our fingers. Like, that's what it feels like.
Right. I just think, I think men do have it too, but when they do it, when they're on the other side and they do it badly, it feels a lot more mean.
Right. Right. I have a part about that in the special. I have material about that. And I talk about a version of that. And I even say on stage, I'm like, it's so funny that the women laugh at that and don't laugh at that. And it's like, the joke ain't so funny anymore.
Yes.
Let's do some awkward sex.
All right, let's do it.
And keep sending them in. UUP@Betches.com, UUP@Betches.com. This is on the list.
This is top.
This goes on. Hey, J&J, love the pod. Sharing a recent awkward sexual encounter, potentially a long one, but hopefully worth it, and you and the listeners find it as funny and mortifying as me and my friends have.
Did.
On Friday night, I'm out with the guy I've been hooking up with. Irrelevant detail, he'd come with me and my friends to Magic Mike after a last-minute dropout. What a date.
This is a guy who's really into her, I feel like.
Into her or something, right? Hey, we got one more ticket to
the strip club.
to the male review. Would you like to join? Yeah, fuck yeah. Also makes him seem cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go
I
to
just
Magic
think he's
Mike.
like, it also is kind of like he's into her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We have some more drinks, then decide it's time to head back to his. I'm on my period, but we discussed that it's all fine.
Not fine.
You're bleeding? Get the fuck out of my face. I don't want the bears coming for us. Then we're back at his. As it's about to hit business time, I peel off to the bathroom to discreetly take my tampon out. After I take it out, I realize I can't see a bin in his bathroom. I wrap it up in toilet paper and head to the kitchen to try and find somewhere to get rid of it. I can't find the light switch either, so I am scrambling around in the darkness all around his kitchen. I'd only ever been there once before, so couldn't really remember where things were. I think I find the bin, but then realize it doesn't have a bin liner in it. And I figure I can't just throw it in, since it defeats the purpose of me trying to get rid of it discreetly. I considered for a second flushing it down the toilet. I know we're not supposed to, but it was an emergency situation. I thought it would be even worse, though, if it clogged the toilet, then came back up, or it needed a plumber to come around or something. I'm racking my mind for solutions, and my drunk brain gets an idea. Put it in your jeans pocket to sort out tomorrow. You ever put a used tampon in your pocket?
No. I have flushed many tampons down the toilet, though.
You're going to get some DMs.
I'm going to get some DMs.
I got a lot of DMs about flushing condoms down the toilet. People are like, not Mother Earth.
A condom is like plastic. This is like, I don't know.
I'm with you. I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like I'm advocating everyone do it, but also I've never had a plumbing issue before.
Right.
I think that she could have easily just done that.
You don't think you got maybe she's got the Mondo tampon, like the huge ones.
I've done it with the huge ones too.
Okay.
Sorry for all the information.
Let it out.
Listen,
people need to know these things.
Don't come for me. But if you're ever in a true bind, you can do it and nothing bad will happen. Sorry. Yeah,
you can flush a paper towel roll down that toilet. You're good.
It's not that big. Listen.
No, listen, we live and learn. But I agree with you. Like, that's the option.
Yeah, I've never had a plumbing issue.
Okay, so I think
you have to ask my building, though.
Flash cut to the super of your building.
Actually. Now we know.
Jordana! I knew it.
They're coming for me.
They're going to come. He's listening. He's a listener. So I think, great. Head back to his bedroom, find my jeans on the floor in the darkness, and put it in the back pocket, feeling very pleased with myself. And then we get down to it. Problem solved, right? Then cut to the next morning, and I'm getting dressed to go. I grab my jeans and feel in the pockets, but don't find a tampon. I shake the jeans a few ways, and nothing falls out. I'm slightly confused, but convince myself that maybe I found the bin after all and forgot it in my drunk state. So I finish getting dressed and go home and don't think about it again. The next day, he ends up coming over to mine and to hang out. We're talking, and he says, "Do you want to hear the wildest thing that happened?" I say, "Yup." He starts explaining. "So yesterday I got my jeans. I feel some apprehension." And he asks if I know what he's about to say. I said, "I think I did." He then goes on to say, "So I get my jeans, the same jeans I wore out to Magic Mike. And I put my hand in the back pocket and I pull out a tampon."
Oh my God.
What if he was like, "I didn't know they were actual magicians. I didn't know Magic Mike is quite a show.
Oh my God.
They'll put a used tampon in your back pocket. You didn't even see it coming. I thought it was just a male strip show. They're putting, the blood looked real. I tasted it. It tasted just..." In my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, oh my God. I was laughing, but also mortified. I thought I'd gotten away with it. I wasn't sure whether to fess up in case there was any chance he thought it might have been someone else's. He said he'd been super confused because he knew I was on my period and thought he'd taken out my tampon and then for some reason put it in his own back pocket, which was very odd, and had forgotten about it. This guy had the worst anxiety ever the next day. If that's what he thought. Like
he thought, I'm confused. He thought that he took it out?
He thought, the way I read this was that he was drunk. They know, because he was sober-ish when they had the conversation.
Right.
"I'm on my period." He says it's no problem. So he remembers that conversation. Right. Then they go back and hook up. It's blurry. They're a little drunk. I get it. In his mind, he's like, "Let me get that for you, dear." Pulls it out.
He put it in his.
Gets up from the bed.
Oh my God.
Goes, "I'll put it in my back pocket. Maybe you'll want it later."
Oh my God. Do men think that you can like reuse them?
I think we know that you can't. I know that you can't.
Right. Like a condom.
So
you wouldn't be like, "Oh, we'll take the same condom and we'll put it back on."
Put it back on. Let's go for round 2. Yeah, I think, again, I've said this on this show, I'm 10% away from most guys that are, that you're dealing with. I would think that most guys know this isn't for later, but like.
Maybe when you're drinking.
I guess when, well, the thing is, when you wake up with anxiety from being drunk, you know this. We probably feel the same way. You think, what's the worst thing I could have done?
Yes.
And I would have.
Who was mad at me?
Who's mad at me? And what's the thing I would say that I would never say out loud, but you think you said it?
Right.
So this is what this guy's doing. He's going,
honestly, ahead of this.
right? Like in his mind, he's done the worst thing. He's taken out a woman's tampon. He put it in his pocket to do something weird with later.
I want to know, like, how bloody was it?
How bloody was it?
If you're listening, please write back and let us know.
Well, how bloody can it get, I guess?
It can get pretty bloody.
Like could...
I mean, that's what it catches blood, so you can imagine.
I'm aware of what it does.
It could get pretty bloody.
Well, could you take
Depends how heavy your flow is.
Heavy flow is like one of those phrases that'll never not jar me.
Heavy flow.
Heavy flow. Oh, it's like tuna fish sandwich. Get out of here.
I love tuna.
Oh. What if could you take a tampon and wring it like a towel and have blood come out from wringing it?
I would say yes.
Wow.
Maddie, what do you think?
Maddie?
I think it's possible. Okay. Forget it. She's like, I don't know about you.
Maddie's a lady.
With the heavy flow.
Right.
I'm sorry. Was that an HR breach?
Right, I think.
I forced her to tell us.
You asked, and for some reason, I was very comfortable going, yeah, what's going on over here?
I'm sorry. Don't sue me.
I totally turned going, yeah, so what's going on? Sean, what's your period like? Now that we gotta get everyone involved to make this less awkward. No.
Well, I guess I'm revealing a lot about myself, but I think you could.
I gotta make. I feel like I gotta make everyone feel comfortable. I had diarrhea today.
I'll
better. Admit it.
I feel better. I feel better.
Loose shit. Okay, let's all be honest. Listen. I'm trying to help.
Help me.
To help you.
I've never felt more like a disgusting.
I had
Bringing the tampon out.
I also had a heavy flow of diarrhea. I'm just trying to help.
This isn't helping.
It's not helping.
This isn't helping. All right. Well, I guess I'm the only one with a heavy flow.
Okay. Flo Abraham.
Oh, so glad we're in a work setting.
Given there was no way he thought it was anyone else's, I figured I should probably explain. I guess one important detail is that men and women's black jeans look and feel relatively similar when they're strewn on the floor and you're on all fours scrambling in the darkness. I agree with that.
Yeah.
This mistake is not unbelievable to me at all.
I totally agree. I think jeans are very... Have you ever put on a woman's jacket by accident?
Very embarrassing for me.
I've been accidentally grabbed a jacket and it's like not mine.
Right. I feel like I'm like the fattest person. Like you put on a woman's jacket, like a pinky gets in.
Can't get my arm through.
Can't even go there. Yeah, this is way believable. Way more believable than wringing out a tampon and having blood squirt everywhere.
Oh my God. It's possible. Not everyone has a light flow.
He was a great sport about it. I'm just more...
So I bet the audience is getting to know me better.
You better. Oh, my God. I'm not some sort of whore with a heavy flow. I'm more spotty.
With a, to quote Mean Girls, heavy flow and a wide set vagina. You ever heard that line? Am I the only one who knows that line?
What part is that from? That's so specific.
It was when the Burn book gets out, and she's like, someone wrote in that book that I'm not a virgin because I use super jumbo tampons, but it's not my fault that I have a heavy flow and a wide set vagina.
Do you think that's the funniest female led movie?
I think it is, personally.
It is the most true to life. I
feel like I could quote every single line from that movie.
But that line is so incredibly funny and so incredibly female.
Yes.
I couldn't write that. I could 10 men in a room couldn't write that.
Right. No, it's hysterical.
Tina Fey wrote, that.
It's so accurate.
That's so accurate.
To the way women speak to each other and just speak generally,
and the way you
and
would talk shit.
Right, and the way you only the references just so specific,
right? Even Bridesmaids is funny, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I don't know if it's as specific as Mean Girls.
Maybe Bridesmaids is an amazing movie too. I think it's also Mean Girls came out in 2004 when I was actually in high school, and I think that added to the feeling of I understand because the movie's about high school,
right?
Every single this is so accurate.
I think in the same way, Superbad,
came out when you were in high school,
brought out
right, yeah,
and also brought up memories of the feelings a young boy had. When they run to go look at the woman's boobs, there's nothing I've related to more in my entire life. When they go, let's go see what these warlocks look like. It is I'm whoa. I'm I can't believe they hit
Iconic.
me right. Iconic. Wide set vagina.
That's a great line though. But I've never gotten a chance to quote it until right now. So
and it made perfect sense. Okay, so he was a great sport about it. Was glad my explanation made more sense than what he thought. Yeah, I would be so fucking relieved. That's probably why he's at your apartment the next day to begin with.
To make sure that he didn't steal your tampon
Right.
and put it in his back pocket.
Right. He's like, I'm going to have a Me Too on my hands, the likes of which have never been seen. And though I was and still am screaming internally and mortified, I also have no idea why it didn't just occur to me to ask him where to bin it. Is this English woman bin it? Or New England? The waste paper basket is a very New England. But that's drunk logic for you. And to all your male listeners, listen up, men. I make an impassioned plea to get Please get a little bin for your bathroom. And in terms of a name for the story, me and my friends were thinking Bloody Mary. The Artful Dodger, Pick a Pocket. That's funny. Would love to hear your thoughts, J&J. Lots of love and a very embarrassed listener. Well, hold on. Before we get into the names, I hate when there's not multiple garbages in people's living spaces.
Okay.
This bothers me.
You forgot to put it on your list.
I should have put
Garbage in every room.
Garbage in every corner. It drives me crazy. I stayed at some of the comedy clubs have
no
like
garbage
condos. There was no garbage. I was like, so you had to like make your little bag from the CVS bag. I hate that shit.
Garbage is everywhere. When I lived in Williamsburg, that was my biggest issue with the entire borough.
Oh, really?
Brooklyn doesn't have garbages on every corner like Manhattan does. Manhattan has a garbage everywhere you look. Every street corner has a garbage.
I would never move to Brooklyn hearing this.
Just for that
reason. I get so annoyed when there's no garbage.
Well, I feel you.
What would you call this one?
I liked Maddie had some good names. Pocket Pussy, Drunk Detective, Tampon Tampering.
Right.
What did you...
I had, because I kept thinking of Magic Mike.
Okay.
And then him thinking that it was a
like
magic show.
Trick.
The ta-da.
I like that.
That's what I had.
Found it.
Heavy Flow.
Wide set vagina.
Wide set vagina. Garbage everywhere. Not a place to throw it. Because she's at his place. Garbage place.
And so this is a call to action. Garbage is in every room.
Right. Bloody Sunday.
Bloody Sunday's good. Denim, blood. I don't know. If you guys have a name, that's also good.
The old switcheroo. I don't know. Because they switched the jeans.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
I think the audience can do better, guys. Let us know if you have a DM us. You up podcast.
UUP@betches.com. At you.up.podcast. How about DNA in my jeans?
That's good. Little DNA check. Little swab.
Let's red flag or deal breaker. You find the condom in the back
of my pocket. That seems less gross to me.
Less gross.
I think so.
Cummy condom?
Well, condom has been inside you.
Sure.
Already.
Ew.
Right?
Yeah.
Tampon, not as much. But if this guy's okay with period sex, I'm sure he's fine with the tampon.
I would have no issue. I would be.
You would keep it.
I would, yeah. Frame it.
in case she comes back and needs a tampon again.
Got you, girl. I'm a feminist. I got extra tampons in the back.
There you go. Yeah, it would be found a condom in the back pocket. That explanation, funny. Not mine. We didn't use a condom. And there's a used condom in my jeans back pocket. Different story.
Different story. Not yours. What if? Okay, so he comes over the next day to explain himself, and he goes, "Found one of yours and has it with him still."
The tampon.
Yes.
Kind of gross, but if I was the one who put it in his back pocket, I probably couldn't say much.
Looking for something? Pulls it out.
Do you need one of these?
Right. Thought you'd get away with it, huh?
That's a good name.
Thought you'd get
away with it.
I
would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling.
For those meddling jeans.
Yes.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for his size 28 waist that made me think they were my jeans.
Yeah, I would hope that his jeans weren't. Either jeans weren't super expensive that we're just throwing tampons.
Well, that comes out, right?
Blood?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I think so.
Is period blood, is it? It's not like blood.
It's real blood.
What
kind of blood did you think it was?
I don't know. I always thought it was like this, like viscous amalgamation.
That makes it probably
things.
Worse, though.
Really,
it's thicker. Can be thicker. I'm getting really into the weeds here. Immediately regret all of the information I've divulged about it.
I'm so happy. This is going to be people's favorite one. Let's do another email.
Anatomy 101. We need another health class lesson. We should get a health teacher on here.
I would love
to
that.
just dispel all of the wrong information we're giving the masses. All right, let's do another one. Hi, J and J. Huge fan of the pod. Found you in the woes of 2020. I'm now a proud benefits subscriber. Love to hear it.
Love it.
I'm a single 27-year-old female living in NYC whose last relationship that lasted more than a couple months was in college. Altogether, not a lot of luck in the dating pool here. As I sat down to make my what do I want in a partner list, thanks for the inspo, Jordana. Stay tuned for the benefits episode if it's not already out now.
Yours is out.
Yes, but then we
Right?
did both of our lists in the next one.
Right.
I think it'll be out by the time this happens.
Yeah, and if you want to subscribe on Apple, just hit that button. On Spotify, just search you up with benefits.
Yes. So as I sat down to make my what do I want in a partner list, I kept coming back to this question. What's the difference between having realistic expectations and settling? I feel like I have fairly high expectations for my future partner, but I also have very high expectations for myself. I'm an awesome person who is fun, nice, genuine, attractive, has a good job and life goals, and I would like the person I'm with to be the same. I would absolutely love to be in a relationship. I love, and would honestly be a great girlfriend. But balancing loving being independent and single and wanting something more is very complicated and super fun place to be. Is a very complicated and super fun place to be. I really have no intent. It's just she got a few spelling errors here. I don't know how amazing she is. I really have no intent in being in a relationship out of boredom or convenience. How do I know if I'm being too picky and my expectations are too high? And if I waver, what's considered settling and what is just having realistic expectations? Thanks for the wisdom. As always, a most likely too picky bitch. I feel like this is a good one for you.
It's a good one for me. I relate to them, but I think there's something in their email. Sometimes the answer's in the email. And like, she's so vague with what makes, like the idea that like
fun,
nice, genuine, attractive, has a good job and life goals. Like
everyone could be described that way and also not described that way, depending on like the moment and who you're asking
and whether you're attracted.
Yeah.
And whether you like them, like you can back your way into those as descriptions for someone.
Right.
They're fun, they're genuine, attractive. Like those are all things you say also after the fact.
Right. No one doesn't think that they are these things.
Right. Right. So I think like their problem is like they are inventing, because they haven't been in a lot of relationships, they're just inventing this. They're acting as if this person doesn't exist. Like there's some sort of like cartoonish ghost they wrote up. But it's like every couple you see, no matter how garbage you think that couple is, they say these things about each other.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Every single person thinks that they're fun, nice, genuine, attractive, and I don't know about having a good job. That's still kind of subjective.
Right. It totally.
Yeah.
Listen, some of you animals are dating teachers. Ugh. Do you know how many people have come up to me?
The teacher community, the union?
The union.
The union, you're going to get a cease and desist from the union?
I get so many people. I'll get DMs. Well, I'm not a teacher, so you might like me.
I can't wait for you to have kids and then this episode gets unearthed and sent to all their teachers.
Daddy, why do I keep failing? Because
the teacher said, go ask your father to teach you math. See how easy it is.
Right. Because I called them undateable monsters. I'm kidding. Please.
But yeah, so a lot of people would say a teacher is a great job.
Absolutely. So, and I would too. It's not a great job. Here's the thing.
But that just proves our point.
Right.
Yes.
It doesn't, I think she's so, in her mind, and the fact that she wrote, she signs a most likely too picky bitch. You're not too picky for wanting a fun, genuine person who's motivated and has a good job.
Those also aren't good things to write on a list, to me. They're not.
That's a good point.
They're not specific enough. So like, and I'll use a specific example that I learned from dating many people. Is like, writes like, positive. Let's say I wrote positive on my list, right? What does that mean? If I wrote responds to my text within X amount of time, with an exclamation point, fine.
Yeah.
That's something that's like a specific need that I've discovered that I want that I didn't have before that I can see. Wants to see me more than once a week.
Well, that's the
Fine.
problem with their sign off. They're saying
Right.
they're too picky for having these vague things. To them, this must sound like you're the pickiest person alive. Which you're
I don't
not.
think so,
I don't
though,
think
right?
you.
Yeah,
No, you're
that's the thing,
not.
yeah.
But I'm saying because they won't. They're saying they're picky now for wanting a nice guy.
What does that mean?
It's crazy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. A
So
nice
they
guy-
need to be more picky. They need to say,
Yeah.
like, be okay with some of these things that don't sound good. Like,
That's why. What did I have on there? Plans dates more than 24 hours in advance. That's a measurable
Right.
like thing.
and a lot of these list items become things that you have to be, they're allowances to be turned off. And that's the big thing is like, this person has to be okay being turned off by someone. And you also have to be, come to terms with what turns you on.
Right.
This person is like, they're putting everything on in what's it called? Like in a hypothetical. Like she has nothing that is like,
Right. What's the
Solid.
example that you're talking about that makes you too picky?
right. Cause I would say to someone, there's no such thing
Right.
as too picky. Like, and I'm saying that as a single person who's probably someone could be listening. Oh, Jared's too picky. Well, that's your opinion.
Well, it's all everything in life is about what are you looking for in what period of time, and those are things that I think are important to consider. Right?
Right.
You could spend your entire life never settling because quote unquote because you haven't found the perfect person,
Mhm.
right? So I think there's like a few things to consider when you're thinking about a partner. I don't think a timeline is bad if you have a sense
Right.
of like I would like to think about if you were buying a house,
Mhm.
right? And you're never going to find the perfect house. Every house has some sort of trade-off, something wrong with it.
Right.
If I need a house in 10 years, I can take my time and wait and see what happens. If I'm kind of like I have, I got to get out of I need a house in this period of time, maybe there's certain things that you're okay with, letting that you've decided are more important, so this is what you're prioritizing.
Mhm.
So I do think time, and I think that's why men are so much more non-committal or more don't care about the settling down later because time is on their side, and in
Right.
their mind they're like, I'm not going to settle, but they're just dealing with an entirely different set of circumstances.
Right. No, I completely agree. And that's why,
Because nothing is perfect.
nothing's perfect. And I think that's comes down to like, I think this person, the way they wrote their email, it sounds like someone who like, with the idea of like settling. To me, settling is not being excited to do things with this person
Yeah.
and still doing them with them. And it's like, I think also because they haven't been in any relationships, they said I've only had a couple month long thing in college and nothing else. You can go, well, they might be in a mode where like, well, I just want to get to dating and being in a long-term thing.
You're saying she is like that.
I think so. Like, I think when you say like, you're afraid of a nice guy being too picky, like.
But she said she loves being independent and single.
Sure. But I think she has some fear. When nice guy is your standard,
Right.
that means, and then you're going, I don't want to settle. That means you maybe feel a little bit worried that just any nice guy will do.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like it's almost the reverse of what she thinks she is.
And I agree with what you're saying. It's like if you're not excited, that's your number one thing to think about.
Right.
Right. There's a difference between like I'm not excited to do this
Mm-hmm.
and I'm excited, but I also know this person isn't perfect.
Right.
Those are two very different things. You could be excited and not delusional. Or you could
Yeah, it's delusion to just keep pushing through. Well, maybe the next thing will excite me.
Right.
I mean, I had a version of that in my own life, where you go, oh, maybe the move-in will get me to the next spot.
Right.
Maybe this will get me to the next thing. And you go, that's never going to
Yeah.
be the case.
I agree you should always be excited
Yeah. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard to judge.
overall.
Right. Overall.
Right. Not again at every single. And again, your
going-
thoughts aren't permanent.
Nobody's
right?
excited to go to someone else's house for the holidays. Like you're not. But are you excited to like talk it out with that person after it's done? Like, are you excited to like
hang out with them alone?
right? Like, are you
excited for date 4?
Are you excited that going home means like, oh, that may maybe getting engaged to this person, like,
yeah,
and figure out, those are, and it's hard to distinguish between. But I think this person specifically, because of what they wrote in their email, they're like almost so afraid of their own lack of knowledge of their own standards.
Right. And I do think to an extent it is a gut thing. It's like
the hardest gut thing.
Is it?
I mean, I'm looking back at all the decisions that I made, like in relationships. I'm like, man, I can't believe I made those decisions.
Because you weren't excited?
Right. And then like how sure I was then, and now being single now, you go, how was I so sure when I'm not so sure?
So you were excited and sure-ish.
I guess at certain points, or else I wouldn't have stayed in them for what I'd stayed in them. But then you look back and you go, you trust your gut enough. You go, how many times was the gut in control? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I think that also comes down to like a timeline.
Right.
Like.
Right. Well, that I guess in every one of those situations, I'm going, I'm at this point in time.
Yeah.
I'm not as pumped as I would like to be. I'm going to bail out.
Yeah.
And I think for this person, when you go, we're 2 months in and I'm pumped to see what the next thing happens. Oh, good. Keep being pumped.
Right. And settling is when you're not excited about something and you do it anyway because you feel like you have to.
I guess the question would be like, what's exciting? Like that changes over time too.
That's also true. Also, the person you're with is not exciting at every moment. In the beginning, though, and I think that's where she's at.
Right.
In the beginning, you should be excited.
Because there's someone married 5 years ago going, oh, these two don't even know. Like, like it doesn't get exciting, down the road. And you go, but are you excited to like have weird things happen and experience them with your partner?
Right. And I mean, again, every familiarity, like we said, does become less exciting over time. Right. So that's why in the beginning, it's more of a measure.
Right. No, I agree.
And then maybe that changed to just overall happiness.
Total.
Overall,
contentment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with that. Things are not exciting at every moment.
Right.
With anyone ever for over a long period of time.
And I think for this person, let's get more specific.
Yes.
Because then you can go, well, I'm not excited. The guy didn't even text me in under a day. You start admitting to those things.
Turned off.
UUP@Betches.com. Let's play some games.
All right, let's do it.
Hi, J&J. Huge fan of the podcast. Listen to it while I run. Bragging. You got...
Okay.
Okay. 5K. You guys always keep me laughing. I probably look like the biggest goof when cars drive by me as I'm smiling and exercising. We get it. You exercise. You're active. So thank you for making the time fly by. This will be my first time writing in, and this scenario is too good not to share. I was recently talking with my friend about this guy she was starting to date. She was really into him. They went to the same college, he had a successful, good-paying job, and he seemed like a fun guy. But,
send him to the other woman.
Right. He's a fun guy.
She's fun. Good job.
Not a good writer. But she mentioned that he had this idea to buy products at a low price and resell them on Amazon or eBay for a profit, except for the fact that the only products he bought were kids' toys. I know this isn't unheard of for people to resell items, but it seemed odd that he would specifically target kids' toys. Additionally, once he had bought his merchandise, he couldn't figure it out / put in the effort to actually resell them. So he had hundreds of kids' toys in boxes lying around his apartment. He tried to keep his side gig a secret from her as long as possible, but obviously couldn't keep them hidden for long since she would go over to his apartment. When she told me the story, I personally thought that reselling products, specifically kids' toys, was a red flag.
Anyone want a Barbie Range Rover?
Got all these Barbies. It would be so weird. You go to a guy's place,
Unopened.
closet full of Barbies.
Right? Anyone
What?
want some Legos? I've got plenty.
It's so creepy when you put it that way. Yeah, I'm just going to go grab a jacket. What the fuck is this? 7,000 Furbies. When she told me the story, I personally thought that reselling products, specifically kids' toys, was a red flag. Especially since he has a good job and doesn't need the additional income. It was a deal breaker for my friend, but wanted to get your thoughts. Red flag or deal breaker? He has hundreds of kids' toys lying around his apartment. It's funny that last line doesn't really explain it all that well.
It's not even as bad as the real thing, I think.
Well, okay, what do you think?
I think this is so creepy. I would definitely be out. 100%. First of all, again, you have a well-paying job, but what are the margins on Legos that you could possibly be reselling for?
He's addicted to the hustle.
Sell something else. Sell Rolexes.
No.
The kids' toys, super creepy. I think also just like creepy for a grown man to have an apartment full of kids' toys. The fact that he tried to hide it from her, I would be like, I can't. There's something more sinister going on here.
Right.
There's weird.
The hiding's the bad part. It's
All
never
of
the
it.
cover. It's not ever the crime. It's always the cover
It's
up.
all of it. It reminds me of 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he's all the action figures.
Well, that made sense. He sold it for a lot of money in that movie. I got your Paw Patrol. Got your Blue's Clues. Monopoly.
Yeah, no.
Come get your Avengers officially licensed toys.
Here's the other thing. It's like the fact that it's kids' toys makes it more sinister, not just because it's like creepy because they're kids' toys and you're a grown man, but also because it's kind of like you're reselling toys to then what? Exploit parents in need of toys?
That's the reason it makes the most sense. That's what makes it less creepy to me.
Because that's on eBay?
Well, because if you find there's an Office episode where Dwight goes and buys all the.
Do you want to date Dwight?
Listen, Dwight was a entrepreneur. This is to me, the kids' toys. Here's how I empathize with the kids' toys.
Okay.
If you're looking to have a markup on an item, what Dwight would do and what people do is they go and find the toy that's the hot toy. They go buy a bunch of them, and they go, let me take advantage of some idiot dads who didn't plan for the holidays.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fucked up.
Well, let's say instead of
it's
toys.
It's like, oh, there's a hurricane coming. Let me buy all the toilet paper.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, price gouging. It's fucked up.
During the pandemic, they go to the store, they buy every mask, every single mask, and they resell them.
Over.
Would you be okay, red flag or deal breaker? And you found out that you're on the flight to Cancun. Mike looks at you and goes, this was all paid for with K95 masks.
No. I mean, why don't I just date Tony Soprano?
Right? I think it's...
Same scenario.
I would be so turned on.
You'd be into it.
Oh, my God. When did you make this money?
Polly Pockets?
I was taking advantage of little kids.
You'd love it.
I'd be like, what? What do you mean taking advantage? Oh, yeah, I sold those Barbies at 100% markup. Enjoy first class, honey.
You're into it.
I am so into it. Just the thought of like, I'm going to fuck these idiots over.
Parents?
And I think it's the parents. I'm making a lot of assumptions that like I hope this guy.
He's not even selling them. They're all in his apartment.
Right.
He's too lazy to sell them.
A failure at this, not as hot.
Yeah.
If
he's a hoarder. These are worth something.
You'll see. Yeah. I got these Funko Pop.
Yeah.
You ever see those?
Why don't you collect stocks and then sell them when the price increases? That's hotter to me.
I got your Care Bears. Just imagine him in a park selling them like he's at a baseball game.
Go buy some fucking crypto or something. I don't know.
Crypto's better than this?
Yeah, crypto's better than this. Even
Wow.
though it's not having a moment at the moment.
I guess, I don't know, there's something, I guess a man selling Care Bears on a chat room and you're not sure who he's talking to.
Poorly. Not done.
Poorly. Not
Losing
a
money.
successful Care Bears salesman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if this is the prelude to him inventing Amazon, maybe.
Well,
But it would have to be going in that
Jeff
direction.
Bezos.
Yeah,
I was
maybe
in
that's
my
who's
garage. No woman believed in it.
buying and selling things on the internet.
It is creepy.
It's creepy until you're a billionaire.
It's
yeah.
it's creepy till it's not. Until you're on that private jet.
Yeah, no, this is creepy. I'm out. Anyway.
Let's do another one.
Hi, Jared and Jordan. I've been listening to the U Up podcast for a few years, ever since my therapist sent me an article from the Betches website.
Whoa.
Love it.
Got to find out who wrote that one.
Right, which therapist that was. I was single for a few years in my 20s, and I went on plenty of average dates, but one in particular stands out. I met a guy from Hinge at a brewery for our first date. He bought me a beer, and we sat outside. When we first got our beers, he offered me a sip of his so I could try it, and he tried a sip of mine. An hour or so went by, and I started to get cold, so we decided to move indoors. I had about 3 to 4 sips of beer left, and when we stood up to move, he picked up my beer and gulped down the rest of it. I looked at him. I looked at him in surprise and said, I wasn't finished with that. He said, oh, sorry, I thought we were sharing beers.
What?
In my opinion, having one sip of each other's beers doesn't really count as sharing, but he offered to buy me another beer, so I brushed it off as a misunderstanding. A little while later, I went to the bathroom. At this point, I again had about 3 to 4 sips of beer left. When I got back from the bathroom, my beer was gone. I said, did you finish my beer again? He responded with, what do you mean? And acted like this was the first time this had ever happened. At this point, I was pretty confused and ended the date shortly after. I brought the story to the brunch table, and my friends could not figure this one out. I thought maybe I was just being selfish, but they all agreed this was extremely weird for a first date. It ended up being a deal breaker for me when I politely told him I wasn't interested in another date. He told me to go fuck myself. So obviously I dodged a bullet there. That's fair. So red flag or deal breaker, they finish your drink without asking not once, but twice on a first date.
Well,
Curious about your thoughts.
I'm about to solve this mystery for her.
Drinking problem?
Yeah. This guy's an alcoholic.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there's no question.
That was my hunch.
Right.
Well, they say it was like you know you have a problem when you won't share your drugs.
I guess it goes the other way
yeah,
too.
Yeah, right. When
Right.
you're taking someone else's.
Right. That you're just assuming their drugs are your drugs.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is what alcoholics do. Like, not to be.
That's why he was on the date.
Right. No, I mean,
Yeah.
to take the sip, and I thought we were like, it's no. This guy has a serious issue. And if you've ever drank with someone who's an alcoholic,
Is that what they do?
Here's what
They're
I've
just collecting the drinks from the whole table.
kind of, but
Okay.
here's what happens, and I've had this happen. I know some people are sober now, thankfully, but you're sitting with them, and over the same amount of time having a drink, and over the same amount of time you're fine, and they're gone, and you're like, how did that happen? And it's because they do shit like this.
Okay.
You know, where you'll be like, I'm having a beer. And then you turn to them, how are they so drunk already? And you realize that they're taking shots on the side. Every time they go to the bathroom, they take a shot. Every time you leave, they'll drink the end of your drink. And you'll go, what happened to my drink? And they'll go, oh, I got you a new one.
Yeah.
You know, it's like stuff like that. That this is, I mean, and the fact that he wrote, go fuck yourself.
That also shows he might not be.
Might not have been
the best
sober.
place.
Well, yeah, right. So, yeah, you dodged a bullet as far, I hope this person got well or doing better. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I could think of.
To me, it's much more about the alcohol than being rude.
Right.
Almost.
Right. This is beyond.
I thought we were sharing.
Right. That's crazy. Like if I
He
was
also
on
probably thought she wouldn't notice because she like went to the bathroom or that's also like it's clearly a thing for him.
absolutely like, and I do understand. Hey, I got this drink, you got that drink. Want to try mine? Want to try yours? That's a different story than. I guess I have free reign to your drink.
Right. Yeah. Person has an issue.
Right. Let's do one more. J&J, I love your podcast and really value the perspectives you bring to dating and relationship questions. I'm a single 30-year-old woman, and I live in the city with one of my close friends who is a single 30-year-old guy. We're both straight, but have never hooked up or had any other than a platonic relationship. We're both on the apps and have come across mixed reactions from our dates when they learn that we're roommates with someone straight and single of the opposite sex. My question is, would that be a red flag or deal breaker to you? And when is the right time to bring it up? It's not something I try to hide, but I'm wondering if I'm talking about it too soon, making it a turnoff. Would love your thoughts on this. Thanks so much. What do you think?
You know, Mike had a female roommate. I met
Really?
him. Yeah. Well, he lived with two people, a man, one of his friends,
Mhm.
and a woman.
How did he bring it up to you?
Told me on the first date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you say?
He said she helped him pick out the outfit.
What was your thought?
I would
Especially
say,
being an anxious dater.
Sure.
I was wondering what,
I would say I wasn't like my favorite thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't care that much, especially just because like the way that he described it, it seemed very like not a thing.
Right. And I guess you'd have to be a crazy person
Mm-hmm.
to be on a first date. Hey, I'm single. I'm on the first date, but I also live with this fuck buddy. Like, if that's your thing that you're doing, that's a little wild to me.
Right.
And then to go, yeah, it's just my roommate, and not admit to it or
Right.
not come out clean about, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think this person, if someone has a problem with it, you're dealing with someone who's very self-conscious. Like,
Yeah.
you were confident enough in yourself to
Mhm.
go, oh, you have a female roommate, whatever. I have to have the confidence to assume that not all roommates are just fucking.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I think a very self-conscious person would get weirded out by it, to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. It wasn't that big of a deal, and also just like I think you could tell very quickly like what even
The deal
like,
was.
yeah, what the deal is. Like you said, like someone's not like, yeah, we've like hooked me and my roommate or my ex-girlfriend. If it was like, oh, my roommate's my ex-girlfriend,
Different
we
story.
used to live together. That's a different story. But
Yeah.
the way it was described didn't seem like that crazy.
I think that's the biggest part, how you describe it.
Hmm.
I live with this person. We got matched up through a friend. They're great.
Yeah,
We're friendly, but we don't go out together a lot. Like you would any roommate,
right.
you know? Like, and if someone has a problem, I think that's it's a good thing for them to,
Right.
for you to
that's
see.
more of a red flag if someone has an issue with it. What would you think?
I wouldn't think anything of it all.
Wouldn't
I don't know.
care at
I maybe it's, I like to think it's confidence that I'd be like, oh,
Right.
cool. How do you guys know each other?
Right.
How'd you get put together?
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, it wouldn't even move me to anything.
Yeah.
If
I would like, I wouldn't, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't like not think about it at all, but obviously, I mean, it did happen, so I didn't care.
Listen, it's all in how it's presented to you. If I said, oh, how did you meet your roommate? Well, we met on Tinder. And then we worked out better as just living, I go, oh, that's a little bizarre.
Right.
And then I would have more questions.
Right.
What got you to the point where you're like, I don't have attraction for this person? And you have to be okay with those questions. But if you go, oh, we have mutual friends from high school and we were both looking for a roommate, and
Right.
I don't like living alone. I'm 30. I'm like I could live on my own if I wanted to, but I kind of like, the action that comes with like having roommates.
Yeah. It's
Boom.
a different story.
Yeah. We solved dating again.
We did it. Proud of us.
Per usual. People, we're here every Wednesday and Sunday.
Yes.
Keep telling your friends. If you're here this deep into the episode, that means you enjoy the conversation we're having here.
Tell a friend, rate, review, and subscribe. I read all the reviews. They've been wonderful.
Love it.
And we'll see you on Sunday. Bye. The U Up podcast is produced by Sean Kilby, Maddie Paul, and Jorge Morales Pico. Editing by Jorge Morales Pico. Social media by Maddie Paul. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.